Welcome to my channel, everyone. Today, I want to talk about what I learned by giving up diet culture. So growing up in the 80s and 90s, I remember watching Saturday morning cartoons with my siblings, as most of us probably did. Often after the cartoons, I remember there being infomercials, whether it was for an exercise program or an exercise product or a fat loss product. And I remember the people that they were interviewing would talk about how, oh, I've lost weight and now I feel like I have my life back. You know, I can wear clothes that I was ashamed of wearing or afraid of wearing. I can, go play with my kids. I can do all these things that I couldn't do before because I didn't like the way my body looked. So from a very young age, being bombarded by all of these messages, I started thinking that it's like, I need to look like that, like the fitness gurus that we would see on TV or magazines. And looking at my little kid body, obviously I did not look like that. I was just your average kid, wasn't super muscular, wasn't super skinny, just very average. By no means anyone would look at me and when I was a kid and say that, oh, you're fat or whatever. But I remember making that connection from a very young age that, it's the successful people who are thin, the people that are, kind of at the top of the ladder, they're thin. You didn't see a lot of people that were very successful, at least in TV, from my little kid perspective. You didn't see people that were successful that weren't looked a certain way or weren't attractive, right? The unattractive friends were like the sidekick, or they were the butt of the jokes or whatever. And even in the grocery store aisle with my mom, being a kid, those magazines are right at eye level. And seeing things about, how to lose weight or how this celebrity lost all this weight after their baby and everything. So it was very reinforced that being overweight or not what society deems as thin or whatever, that I was, or that, being overweight was bad and you just weren't going to be successful. You weren't going to have money. You were lazy and so on and so forth. Right. And that's all these, these myths that diet culture teaches us, that our value is based on our worth. Excuse me, that didn't make any sense. Our value is based on our looks, right? Like how, the thinner you are, the better, right? And that stupid quote, you can never be too rich or too thin, some nonsense like that. But then there's an ethical thing to it that, I learned as well. If you are overweight, you're lazy, you have no self-control, you're, just all these negative connotations. And it was something that was very hard to work against. Sorry, my cat is pushing my camera over here. He wants attention. So I'm learning all these negative things, and then, looking at myself in the mirror, even as a teen, and starting to develop, and I did not look like the other teen girls in the teen magazines. And it's then you start learning, I'm just not good enough. I'm not going to be successful. I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to find a good husband, if I don't look a certain way, and then what made it even worse is, the boys in middle school and high school, talking about how beautiful, these celebrities and whatnot are. So it just reinforces that, like finding a relationship, in your little like 11, 12-year-old brain, that, boys aren't going to find you attractive if they find, some celebrity. I can't even think of anybody off the top of my head. Britney Spears, but that was when I was in high school. That was not in middle school. And so, and even like reinforcement, not overtly reinforced at home, kind of very, from family. It was definitely kind of it wasn't a little more under the radar. It wasn't like super, in your face. But then as an adult, learning, like, hey, my value, the way I look has nothing to do with my value. My worthiness, everyone deserves love. Everyone deserves respect, no matter, what they look like, no matter how big they are, how small they are, because there are, people are ostracized on both sides of the spectrum. But everyone is worthy of love and being accepted just because you're a human. It has nothing to do with what you look like, what pant size you wear, what's in your bank account. And these are all things that have been created by society. So again, when I was growing up, it's like, oh, if, being fat is bad, then eating fat is bad. All this fat-free food, and thinking like, oh, that's what I should be eating. Again, if I gain weight, I'm a moral failure. I remember in middle school and high school, like not wanting to go to the pool with my friends because I did not look like the girls in the magazines or on TV or ads. And it really affected how I wanted or what I wanted to do, or if I was comfortable with doing things. Like, I know there were certain activities, certain like sports or whatever that just was like, I felt so uncomfortable in my body that I didn't want to go do that or even attempt to do that. And then of course, as you, start trying to lose weight, most people don't realize, but when you start to restrict, and restrict, our body treats that very much like if we're holding our breath. Eventually, we have to breathe again, and we start, almost hyperventilating or, to catch our breath, right? That's a natural response that our body has. It is the exact same response when we restrict. Eventually, our body, no matter what's going on in our mind, our body will eat, and then it will overeat because it has no concept of a diet. It has no concept of, trying to lose weight. It understands survival and not survival. So then, as most people on here probably have experienced, there's this restrict, and then binge, and then you feel horrible about yourself because, oh, I ate too much, and then you probably feel bloated, and it just becomes this vicious cycle. It's like, what am I doing wrong? And it just becomes this super duper negative cycle that you don't know how to get out of. So then on top of all of what's going on, it's like this mental health is just this downward slope, right? There's nothing positive about it, or nothing healthy about it. But no one, most people, would look at me in middle school and high school and like, they don't think there's anything wrong with me or that I was suffering with any of this, right? And then it did get to a point where, I would restrict, and then binge, and I would feel so bad about myself. And I it got to a point where I felt so guilty and horrible that I would start to make myself throw up. It's because I knew the only way that I would be able to lose weight is if I was taking in less calories. And ultimately, my body is like, no, like, we're not going to let you die. So, through lots of therapy and lots of work, in my, late teens, early 20s, just coming to that realization that, I am worthy. And it doesn't happen overnight. It does take, time and work and, and eventually, I was able to get to a point where it's like, in my early 20s, like, okay, I'm not going to try to lose weight. I just want to focus on being healthy and just don't look at the scale. But I was still unhappy with my body. And then when I came across intuitive eating, that really, really changed a lot of things for me. I was able to really kind of peel back the curtain and really see diet culture for what it is, and how much it affects and destroys people's lives in a way. So going back to seeing these infomercials and everything on TV about how these people like, oh, I have my life back and I can wear bathing suits and I can do things with my kids and I have so much more energy now. And that was all from them losing weight and being what society considers like looking appropriate or looking healthy, which your weight has nothing to do with your health, no matter what size. So I realized then that pursuing of trying to lose weight and trying to, look like these photoshopped young women, that it was actually doing the opposite of all those things that I saw growing up. It took away my power. It took away, wanting to go out and do things. It took away, oh, I'm okay being in a bathing suit and having fun with friends. And it's just amazing to look at it and be like, wow, this is exactly the opposite of what I thought I would achieve. Because as many of you may know, or have experienced, that losing weight does not fix your body image. Your body image issues have nothing to do with weight. And I know when I first heard that, I'm just like, no, that, but when you look at it, you do realize, it's like, oh, okay, I have lost weight, but I still don't feel any better about myself. Just always chasing that uphill battle of, chasing perfectionism, and perfection is an illusion. The closer you get, the further it recedes. And so finally being able to realize, like, look, like, I'm trying to be healthy, but at the same time, all of these things that have been, pushed or, that I've been bombarded with in our society, like, it's become the exact opposite of what I was trying to, my goals, right, for enjoying life. And just realizing how much of my life, that I didn't live because of trying to lose weight. And recently I had a realization that I feel like I lost so many years of my life to trying to lose weight and to an eating disorder. And I know healing had to happen, and I am very proud of myself for how far I've come. And I would say, that's only, I've learned so much, but that still is kind of one regret, or one thing that I look back on, and, it's like, I lost so many years just not living. And, and thankfully, I was able to heal, I was able to work through things, and I've accomplished some amazing things by working with my body, instead of hating it and working against it. So if nothing else, there are going to be days where we still have bad body image days, but the goal is to get to a point where it doesn't affect you. It doesn't ruin your day. It doesn't keep you from doing things. It's just like, okay, it's just like having a bad hair day. It's like, okay, no matter what I do with my hair today, I don't like it, but it's not going to ruin, you're not going to go and shave your head. You're not going to, usually you don't, it's not going to ruin your entire day, your entire week. And just knowing that, gaining weight, losing weight, having to buy a different size pair of pants or clothes or bra or whatever. It's like, that has nothing to do with your worthiness. That has nothing to do with who you are as a person. How we look and our pant size and what the scale says, that is the least interesting thing about us. And you have so much power in you, and so much, there's my dog, and so much more than these numbers that we have trying to attain for so much of our life. So I hope this helps. I did mention the intuitive eating. That was a huge turning point for me. I don't know what edition of the book that they're on now, but I definitely recommend looking into that. It's hard at first, but the longer you do it, it's the easier it becomes. And just remember that path of healing and rejecting diet culture, it's not easy and it's not linear, but just keep moving forward. We're going to have good days. We're going to have bad days, but slowly the good days really outweigh the hard days. But I'm sending everyone out there love, and I hope to see you back here. If this message resonates with you, please like and share, subscribe. Just that way, get into the algorithm, and this message can be spread to more people that need to hear it. I love you guys.